everyone. I'm actually sitting at La Restaurateur with Gaston Acurio, which is an honor for me. He's quite a big name in the food world, and while I know that the American market is not as familiar with Peruvian food, they really should be. Gaston, thank you for meeting with me today.
Thank you very much.
So, before I get started with the really difficult questions, why don't you give my people a little bit of information on you and how you got started on cooking in Peru?
Okay, I'm Peruvian, and I was born to be a chef. Since I was 7, 8 years old, I was already buying my ingredients and cooking my own food in my house. My dad and my mother looked at me as a weird kid. Instead of playing football in the streets, I was in the kitchen, reading my grandmother's cooking books, and then I had the fortune to study in Paris, to be being trained to be a chef in moments where in all the world was very French in terms of fine dining. So it wasn't easy to them to train me to try to be a French-style chef. Being Peruvian and opening a restaurant in Peru, but that happened in London, that happened all over the world. We had the fortune to be part of a generation of cooks that chefs that had the opportunity to evolve inside ourselves, inside our cultures, trying to find a new language in our ingredients, in our old recipes, and start putting them in these fine dining restaurants. That happened in Denmark, that happened in Peru, that happened in Mexico, in Brazil, and in the United States also. So now I am part of a world movement of chefs that we're very proud to be local, not only buying to local producers, but we are very proud to find the beauty in our local traditions and heritage, but being universal at the same time. Not losing this open window of sharing between different cultures. I will give you this and you give me that, because that's the way where we can build new flavors, new horizons, a new relation of between countries, and cultures. So it's an amazing time to be part of this food world, which is a world of freedom, a world of respect, a world of compromise, but not resigning to beautiness and quality and excellence. The food is more fun, more beauty, more free, it's more magical, more emotional, so it's great.
Mm-hmm. So you actually mentioned something interesting for me, because you said that Peru kind of developed insularly in itself, but I know that in Peru there's a lot of influences. There's not only the native Peruvian influence, but there's also Japanese, and there's a lot more going on. So can you tell us a little bit about
the story of Peruvian food started actually millions of years ago. In one country, Peru, for millions of years were developed 85 different weathers. In the world we have 110, and in Peru we have 85 of them. So that happened in millions of years. And in that weathers, a lot of biodiversity around was created. Wild biodiversity. So 7,000 years ago, the most old cultures in Peru started. Cultures started in Peru. Were different cultures because there were different weathers. So they started agriculture in Peru. And agriculture in Peru, this biotechnology of those old days, developed a potato that was wild, was poisonous. So developed the corn and the tomatoes with Mexico too, and the chiles, and the peppers, and the strawberries, and beans. All that happened in Latin America. Also, of course, in Peru, in a big amount of that. These ingredients that are almost 80% of what all the world eat right now was developed at that time. In 1532, we got a war in Peru, a terrible war, because last Inca, Atahualpa, had a war with Francisco Pizarro that came from Spain, from the Spain Empire. And the Incas were beaten. They lost that battle, and the Spanish culture started. There was a lot of blood there in that war, but the ingredients were respecting each other. For example, they brought lime, and they found that chile, and the ceviche was gone. They brought garlic, and they found a tomato, and then years later the color of Mediterranean flavors and Italian food was born too. So after that started a 500 years period of all cultures of the world arriving to Peru from Africa in a very dramatic way. It's very important to remember that. From China, not less dramatically, from Canton, from Genova, Italy, 30,000 people from Genova arrived to Peru in the early 19th century. And from Japan, from Okinawa, thousands of Japanese arrived. And from the Arab world and from all over the world, people arrived to Peru, bringing their memories, their nostalgies, their ingredients, their cultures, and mixing with what they had, with what they found in Peru. So the result of all that story that started millions of years ago till now is which is Peruvian food. We see, which is a world very connected with nature because of its history, very multicultural because of its history, but at the same time very connected with the moment that we live, which is a country that is developed, solving the problems of wars, of bad nutrition, of poverty, and working everybody together to be part of that process. So Peruvian food is a world of unique flavors, not better or worse than other ones, unique, different, of ingredients that we keep discovering them. We keep discovering them, rediscovering them as quinoa, for example. Of words, ceviche, tiradito, causa, anticucho, they're not better words than French words. They are unique words. They are Peruvian words. So there's a universe of a food culture that we've been developing for a long time ago. So what we're doing right now is trying to put it on the package. And a restaurant is kind of a package of that.
Yeah. So I've been waiting for one of your restaurants to open up in the U.S. for a long, long time. I mean, I've been to Bogota, but it's very difficult to travel to all these countries. What was the final push to get you to open in New York City?
Well, I think New York City is one of the most important places if you want to share something with the world. All the eyes are looking at what New York City is developing, showing, sharing. So it's because it's a very multicultural city. You have to understand restaurants as embassies of cultures, very peaceful spaces of sharing culture. It's not a business. It is, of course, because it has to be, but it's not the reason that move chefs. Food is much more than that. Restaurants are instruments for pleasure, for happiness, for sharing, for revealing something that was undiscovered till now. It's a space for nostalgia for Peruvians that are long time ago outside their countries too, or to celebrate with, to share, make the Peruvians share with their friends a piece of their culture too. So a restaurant of a foreign country in another country is very important because it's the most specific and nice way to get inside another culture. You know? The history told that a lot of countries took spaces with wars and treasures and all that stuff, but I think this is a great way to share being inside another city with what you have, no? And the result is that you are going to give to the community you are there new flavors, new recipes. That doesn't hurt at all. That gives you just happiness, no?
Yeah. So now, for people that are not so familiar with Peruvian cuisine, what would be, say, 3 ingredients that you feel are key? You know, without these 3 ingredients, you don't have Peruvian food.
As Japanese food, for example, where you take out the soy sauce, wasabi, and seaweed for the sushi, you don't know what you're eating, no? It's the same in Peruvian food. Is chiles, the different types of chiles. We call them ají amarillo, the first one, which is a yellow chile. With that, with that ingredient, you can do a Peruvian restaurant really well, because it's if you have mashed potatoes, we can put ají amarillo, it becomes una causa, which is a very traditional dish, a yellow cold dish of mashed potatoes with stuffings. If you put the Peruvian red chiles, we call the hilimo or ceviche, it becomes Peruvian because that gives a flavor to that. You know? And after that, there's an herb which is the huacatay, which is a local herb from the Andes that gives it's like the flute in the music. You know? It gets in and you don't know what it is, but it's there. It's there, exactly. Yeah, and give the soups original Peruvian flavor too. With those 3 or 4 ingredients, we can reproduce the original traditional Peruvian flavors everywhere you go. And if you buy locally, the fresh fish you can, the fresh shellfish, and all the other ingredients, so you have a great balance of fresh, homemade, original Peruvian cooking. That's very important.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask you about that because I know that in Peru and Latin America you're very focused towards local sourcing, ethical sourcing. So how are you going about bringing those ingredients here into the U.S. and to New York?
One of the major key roles that we have in our speech as chefs is that we have to support our local producers. So it's very important to be coherent in what you do and what you say. You know? The magic thing is that you can be very local and be universal at the same time. If I'm in Peru, of course I will buy locally to my farmers, to my fishermen, and I will build my Peruvian flavors there. But if I only need to take 5 or 6 ingredients from my country to reproduce the original flavors of Peru in another country, I have to continue the philosophy of buying local too. So buying to fishermen, buying to local producers, tomatoes, onions, garlics, and fresh herbs, and cheese, and with this local produce, and with the 5 and 6 ingredients, you can build a great Peruvian food anywhere you go. You have to be because the other way is, okay, no, I'm going to be local in my country, but I'm not going to be local outside my country. That's a contradiction, no? And the second thing is, you are not local outside your country. You will bring frozen fish from Peru, for example, and that's not good.
Right.
So it's very good for food to be local and universal at the same time.
So I see Peruvian cuisine is up and coming in the U.S. People are starting to get acquainted I'm not talking right now about French or Italian cuisine, but what other cuisine do you see worldwide that you see has the same opportunity for growth? Something that's really impressed you?
Yeah.
I know it's a tough one.
Well, Singapore government is doing an amazing job to put on the map Singapore food, which is a mix of a whole Asia, and they are developing new and more new dishes. The street food is amazing there, and they are developing all this street food, which is the base of the future of the culture, no? Some sort of the whole picture of food. I think the great regional Mexican food is undiscovered till now in the world, so it has a great opportunity. Brazil is finally, with this legion of great Brazilian chefs of my generation, rediscovering and putting on value their ingredients and their culture, and they are start doing amazing things too. I think that the future of food for the customers is going to be better than ever, because they will take profit of a community of chefs in all the world that we're not competing. We're sharing all the time. Are worried if somebody's not doing a good job. And we're traveling from the other day I went to Salón del Gusto in Torino just for 3 hours, just to be there and support the local farmers, because I know they will go to Peru for the same reason. From Italy, Massimo Bottura, or my other friend chef from there. So all the good stories could get born from that attitude. So, and you can feel it. You more and more you go to small restaurants, they're doing almost fine dining for $20 or $30. Young chefs with completely liberty, doing great things with a small budget, doing a small restaurant, but with amazing food. Also even the ramen soup, they're doing the noodles inside the restaurant, and you're paying almost what you for the same price you're paying for this change of fast food. So I think the future of food is going to be amazing for the customers. Yes.
Yeah, I think so too. So I have 2 more questions for you. I think that through the Food Network and all this food entertainment, people don't really understand what it's like to really be a chef. And I want to ask you particularly because you have something like 20 restaurants, you're creating menus, concepts. Mm-hmm. What do you think is the biggest misconception people have when they think of chef, as in, someone that's more famous, that has a better reputation?
Okay, being a chef is not being a person with an ego and vanity that is expecting you to acclaim him because he considers an artist and a unique person that can create amazing dishes, and that's it. That's not being a chef. Being a chef is a person that has the honor, the responsibility, and the luck to be a chef, giving happiness to other people. Not only the customers that arrive to the restaurants, sharing with his knowledge, with his dishes, the opportunity for farmers, for fishermen to be part of the story, to being recognized from the city to the farms, to the ocean, etc. Is a chef that is compromised with the environment, using ingredients that are not produced with work children, for example, or not using ingredients that are in danger of disparation, but also trying to convoke the community, the customers, the consumers, in that purpose too, with what they say and what they do, trying to build fair relation of trade between farmers and restaurants, between farmers and consumers, trying to be part of the perfect point where excellence, beautiness, tastiness, and nutrition come together in something new, something nicer, something better for everybody. And but the magic thing is that we can do all that without resigning to your culture, to your feelings, to what you are, to what you want. It's just using what you have in all the power that food has to change lives, worlds, but building magical experience at the same time. So you can go to a restaurant and discover the most amazing ingredients. The other day I was in a restaurant, and we do that a lot, but the other day I was in a restaurant, and the main course was just radishes and tomatoes with an amazing sauce, with a touch of the chef. Just a few years ago, for that dish you would ask him, where's the shrimp, or where's the pigeon, or where's the foie gras? Okay, that's over. I mean, you can have pleasure without any reason of putting this kind of luxury ingredients, because the luxury things right now are sometimes in the simple things, sometimes not, but in the authenticity. No? So being a chef is also a very hard work, because you have to run, you have to have a great administration, you have to deal with almost a kind of an everyday battle, you know, receiving everyday people to try to make them happy. Everybody eats. Everybody has their own world inside about eating. How you could make happy to everybody is a very difficult job too. And but at the end of the day, I can assure you, all the chefs in the world, from my generation, sharing the recipes instead of keeping them as a secret, traveling to support causes instead of staying to support just the rich clients. You know? That's what's happening right now. At the end of the day, if you could take a picture of them, they're tired, but they're very happy. Mm-hmm. And they're a little bit proud, because they're recognized, they're respected, and they're doing what they love, no? Eating, cooking, sharing. That's it.
So, for somebody that hasn't been to La Mar yet, that has never had Peruvian food, mm-hmm. They never even heard of Peru, they think it's somewhere, Europe. Mm-hmm. What do you think their experience is going to be here? What do you recommend they have, and what should they ask for?
It's like when the first, I can tell Japanese, they helped us a lot in the last 20 years, because they had the amazingly problematic responsibility to convince the world to eat raw fish and seaweed. You know, if you told me 30 years ago that one day children in every city all over the world will eat wasabi, raw fish, and seaweed, you say, okay, you're crazy. That's not going to happen. But that happened. You know? So right now, Peruvians, we arrive with our ceviche, which is an amazing Peruvian expression of that raw fish. I think it's the best way to start discovering our culture, because all the different types of ceviche represents a good opportunity to start discovering and loving a new culture, and put it inside to your life. You know? So I think that's the best way to start with ceviche, and then
tiradito.
Yes, then tiradito, anticuchos, or causas, but no, not everybody has the spirit and the personality to put me everything. I'm going to taste everything. You know? Yeah. You have to go. Somebody will go faster, and somebody will not go faster. You know? So, but I think ceviche will love everybody.
Yeah, I think so too. I love it. So, thank you so much for meeting with me today. It's an honor.
Thank you.
And I can't wait to come back and see you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.